What's up, everybody?
Hello.
First question. Did you know that Myrtle Beach is home to over 30 different types of snakes?
No.
I don't think I knew it was over 30.
I hardly ever see a snake.
Yeah, we never see them. But I think that answer would vary depending on who you ask.
Sure.
You know, based on where you live and that kind of thing. But
yeah,
interestingly, there are only, did we come up with 6 or 8? I keep saying that and I keep forgetting. 1, 2, 6. 6 of are venomous. The rest are not. But tonight, reason why we're going to talk about snakes, you know, it's something that I got to be honest, you know me, I'm kind of the culprit here to have this topic, but people do ask us and it prompted us to look. We do come across them in our job very rarely, but we do have them, like neighbors will see them and they'll talk about it and they'll post pictures, but it's not very common. But I feel like we've seen them more in our neighborhood now than ever in the past. We've seen the timber rattler, the copperhead, and the water moccasin. We haven't seen it personally. No, but people have sent pictures.
Have posted on the Facebook page.
Yes.
But Frank is like obsessively looking at snakes. He's part of, what's the Facebook group?
Yeah, but everybody does that, don't they?
No, it's like, weird. You know, like he literally is obsessed with looking at snakes and
well, no, it's just the reptile.
He's like, oh my gosh. I'm like, what happened? And he's like, look at this snake somebody found. I'm like, what in the heck are you doing?
But it's interesting to know, like, if you have questions about getting snake bit or you have questions about spiders or insects. So I'm part of these groups where you can post a picture and someone that's a professional will identify what it is. And I think that's really important.
Well, it's important to us. I mean, obviously we don't want to get bit, but we also have Hudson, who we want to make sure he's protected as well and educate him on the different types of snakes in the area. And if you're from other places in the country, you might not have the same snakes that we do here. You might not have any poisonous snakes and you might not even think about it because we're at the beach and you don't think about a poisonous rattlesnake being at the beach.
Yeah. You don't think
I thought of rattlesnakes only in like Arizona. Yeah. But anyway, we'll talk about that. So today I think our goal is to just share some common ones that you don't need to worry about. Some snakes are actually good to have around. They are very good. And then we need to talk about the ones that you should be cautious. We're not trying to scare you, just educate on what is in our area and how you can avoid getting bitten by one by accident.
Yeah. We recently had a situation where we encountered one, and I think
we should have brought the picture he drew.
I know, but it's interesting because it forced us to have a look at some questions that I want to talk about, the anti-venom and some other things that we learned. So there's some really cool stuff that we learned. But I grew up in the Midwest, and in Indiana, I don't even know. I should have looked before I saw, but I don't know that Indiana has. I don't think I ever saw anything other than a garter snake in Indiana growing up. I think Ohio might have one in the mountainous areas of Ohio, maybe 2 types of rattlers, maybe because you're close. I think it borders some other states that have them, but some states like Maine have none. No snakes, no poisonous snakes. So,
well, I mean, I grew up in the Carolinas and I learned about these poisonous snakes. You do in elementary school, they tell you what to pay attention to, but I still have never seen one.
Yeah.
In real life, I have never seen any of these snakes in real life. I'm not looking as hard as he is, though.
I mean, he is like constantly. I'm always wondering, but I do think
I might have passed by one. That's scary to think about, and like
there's no doubt. There's no doubt. Well, okay. So what I was gonna say was you most likely have passed by one, but the only way that can happen is if you actually go in the woods, which you don't do, so you probably never have. But gosh. If you do go in the woods, you go hiking. Very, very likely you've stepped over one, been by one. I'm not a fan of snakes when it comes to like having them around, the poisonous ones, but they do say that they don't want to bite you, which I believe they are just protecting themselves. But
and we do have a story about that.
We do.
what just happened.
Oh,
with
yeah,
Hudson.
yeah.
But we'll talk about that later too.
All right.
But let's start with the snakes that are common. It might even be good to have around. And I think we have some little picture demonstrations.
We have show and tell today again.
Yes.
This is one of our favorite things to do. So, well, let's talk about some of the harmless, helpful snakes.
Yeah. And these are probably the more common ones that you're going to see. I know there's like 30 some, but we're just pulling out the ones that are most common.
Yeah. So this first one is the eastern rat snake. I'll show a picture here. Does this look like the one we saw too?
Yeah, for sure. It was like coiled up.
Yeah.
I think that's the most common one I've seen ever.
Yeah. So this is the eastern rat snake. It does, as far as I know, eat small rodents, right?
It's black, obviously. And it
gets up to 6 feet.
6 feet is big. It sounds intimidating if you don't know that it won't bite you. Well, I think all snakes can probably bite, but they're not venomous.
Well, what I love about this snake and find most interesting about the rat snake and the eastern king snake, which we'll show after this, they both eat other snakes.
Yes. So I like these snakes.
But do rat snakes, I don't think, do they eat other poisonous snakes? Is the question.
Well, I don't
King
think
snakes
so.
eat other poisonous snakes. Rat snakes just eat other snakes, I think. I could be wrong, but I think.
And these are typically found in the woods, in an attic, near homes. We've seen them crossing the street. Remember in the Bluffs, the one was like crossing the street. And,
yeah, that was a while ago.
Yeah, and we just saw one like a weekend ago, maybe coiled up. It was actually really pretty.
Yeah, it was a rat snake.
You pointed it out. I didn't even notice it.
Yeah.
Again.
Yeah. But
those are good ones.
Yeah, these are common, so no big
deal. They
deal.
won't hurt you.
Yeah,
so it's fine.
These are fine to have around.
I want one of these. The next one, which is it's the eastern king snake.
Let's show this one.
I want one of these.
King? Is this a king? No, this is the corn. Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
This one.
There we go.
Eastern king snake. So now king snakes, if I'm not mistaken, I'm sure if someone sees this as a snake expert,
yes,
we will talk about later on this video, coral snakes, which we have here. So there's two different types of snakes that look coral snakes, and there are other king snakes that are red, black, and yellow. Coral snakes are red, yellow, black. And the only reason I know that is because of the saying that I always learn, which is black and yellow, kill a fellow, red and black, friend of Jack. So if it's red next to black, it's a good snake. And if it's red and yellow, kill. Yeah, red and yellow, then it's bad.
But the point is on this snake is it is immune to venom.
Yes.
And that it's actually a good thing because it will eat the venomous snakes.
Yes.
So I want to buy a whole bunch of these and have them around my house.
Right. I know.
Because that sounds great to me. They're black with the chain pattern, as you can see. They're found in fields, forests, typically. And yeah, they're friends. They're our friends. My friend for sure.
Yeah. Okay. So that's a king snake, and they're long and thin. This next one, let's see what everybody thinks of this next one.
I mean, if I saw that, I might think it was like dangerous.
We should be, yeah. Well, that's the thing.
Because the color of it.
That's it. If you look, if I walked up to this now, what I laugh is when people are like, well, does it have a triangle head? And does it have slits in his eyes, or does it have round? I'm like, I am not getting that close to this snake. So, but this, I would look at this and just stay away.
But I think
if I didn't know
I
a
think
corn
this
snake.
Is why we want to do this video, because the more you educate yourself on these things, it can help. I feel like if you do come across something, you know what the deal is, and you don't kill a snake that's not going to harm you. You know, that might be beneficial. If you just kill it because you don't like any snakes, then that's unfortunate for the snake and for everybody else. So these clearly are orange and red. They're found in fields and barns typically. So if you think about corn snakes, but people kind of think that they're copperheads sometimes. I think because of the color, probably. So I think probably a lot of these get killed by accident because people think they are the copperhead, which we'll talk about later. That's one of the ones I'm most scared of for sure. But they just eat rodents.
Yeah.
So that's why they're like around barns and cornfields and stuff like that.
Yeah. I mean, there's really no other poisonous snake that looks like this that I'm aware of here. other than one we'll talk about later, but they
Yeah.
really are different. So it's nothing.
Yeah. But I think people think copper and they see the copper
Yes,
color
for
on his
sure.
head and they're
I
like,
can
that
see
must be
that.
one. Yeah.
It's this yellow though that
For
really
sure.
get, I mean, I'm sure some snake expert would be like, no, there's like 15 things that are
For-
different than a copperhead.
We are
Yeah.
hey, we're realtors. We are
Yeah.
not whatever you call snake people. I don't know, but we are just realtors. So we're just trying to
Is that
have a little fun
herpetologist
today.
or something?
Yes, of course you would know.
All right.
Um,
So
Okay, so you want to? I think we all heard about this one, the garter snake.
yes,
It's like pretty common type of snake.
Yeah, let's do the garter snake. Boom. That
It's
actually
pretty.
that actually is much more gold and yellow than I thought it was
I
going to
think
be.
he's so pretty. The garter snake is small. He's striped and found in yards and gardens. And guess what he eats, Frank? Let's do a test because Frank's like a snake guy. So what does a garter snake eat?
It's got to be
a little bit
whatever it
different.
is. It's got to be tiny. So I'll say frogs.
Okay,
I'll
correct.
say mice.
No mice.
No field mice.
No, well, frogs and insects.
Okay, I could believe insects too.
Maybe like spiders it could eat. That'd be great.
Yeah, maybe stuff like that. I could see that. So I would have guessed that.
So he's good. So he's a good one.
Yeah. And I mean, you could tell the white, the solid yellow on the bridge of its back. I feel like all garter snakes have that. Even up in Ohio, they're darker, but they have that kind of, I think they have that line up in Ohio as well, like up in the Midwest.
See, all of these, anything with a color, I would have been like, that's poisonous.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I just think like color
again,
scary.
Look at the head on that.
Yeah.
It doesn't
does
look rounded. So it
no.
looks to me like,
Triangular.
I wouldn't know.
It looks a little ominous.
The other thing that I think is, so we've seen smaller snakes, right? Baby snakes, but their colors change. So when they're a baby, they might look like a totally different snake than when they grow up. So that always worries me too. You never know. So my policy is just stay away. But
it's the worst story about that.
Oh gosh. Are you going to tell them?
Should I?
They're going to be like, is this serious? Go ahead.
We were out.
Wait, don't say
weeding. We were out like pulling weeds the other day, and then I came across this little baby snake, and it had a yellow stripe under his belly, and I just thought to myself, is this poisonous? Is it not? And originally I was going to just let it go, but Hudson and Frank were going to be back, and I was like, oh my gosh, what if it is poisonous? So then I got a stick and I went to cut his head off. I feel so bad. And so then he looked up at me with his little eyeball, and he looked right in my eyes like, what are you doing? And I felt so bad. I just flicked him with the stick, and then I pretty much have been crying ever since. And I said I will never ever try to kill a poor animal again, ever. I didn't know if it was poisonous or not. This is why this is probably.
We're gonna get all kinds of comments. Oh,
I know,
you killed us! You tried to kill a
him.
snake.
It was only because of Hudson. I thought I don't want him with this on our property, and I made the wrong decision. He looked at me. If y'all know, we might have talked about it before, but we own a bearded dragon. So I'm like a reptile mom now, and all I could think of was Herman and his cute little personality when that little snake looked up at me with this little eye, and I just felt so bad. It kind of made me like snakes.
You did? How? How's that possible?
It like bonded us. Because he looked at me like he was looking at my soul, and he was like, "Don't ever hurt a snake again." So, yeah, that was. I don't. You would have been different if Frank was involved, but that was my story.
We won't go there.
I learned my lesson.
Well, I'm glad you made friends.
But the problem was, like Frank said, I didn't know what type of snake it was, and it had a yellow line and looked a little.
It was solid brown, basically. I mean, I have no idea.
Yeah, I was sitting there looking at it like, is it
all this
dangerous? Is it not? I don't know. But anyway.
All right. So
I feel so bad.
Let's go on to this one.
Yeah, I would have thought this was like poisonous too. Like you see those pictures in a jungle of these like bright green snakes.
Yeah, I mean
it's just called a green snake.
Yeah, which is interesting. It's very tiny.
It's bright green, it's slender, and it's usually in bushes.
Okay.
And eats insects. So again, another good one. I like him.
Yeah.
He's really pretty, actually.
He is pretty. mean, yeah, you think of a pit viper from
Yeah,
I
like
don't
some
know, in
kinda weird-
Asia in the jungle.
right. When you see his color, but I mean, if he's not dangerous, he's just eating.
His round pupil gives it away.
What if that was the one? It has a yellow under there. Maybe that was the one.
He wasn't green though.
Well, maybe he
brown.
turns green when he gets older.
I
don't know.
That's a pretty well, anything's possible, I guess.
Have you guys seen any of these?
That's the question. If you're watching this or you see it in the future, I would love to see your comments about, are you in Myrtle Beach, in South Carolina even? What's the craziest snake story you have? What kind of snakes have you seen?
Yeah.
What do you do when you find a snake? Do you call the snake chaser, which we have here, and then he's got to come get it? What do you do?
Yeah. Or do you even know that these snakes exist here? Like I didn't know.
Another question I have is, maybe this is a good time to use the platform to ask questions.
Mhm.
I am under the impression there's nothing you can do to keep snakes out of your yard other than keep it short, no long brush, no places for them to hide. But all the other nonsense that people tout and say, spray this or leave these mothballs or,
Garlic
all this
or
jazz.
something.
Yeah. None of that really works. Even
I
if
don't know. Do y'all think it works? Have you had any experience?
Well, that's what I'm asking. I want to know what they think.
Yeah.
So,
Any tips or tricks would be great.
yeah. This guy here looks like he's in very sandy ground though.
Yeah.
So I don't know where in South Carolina, but a lot of this stuff.
All these pictures were from the South Carolina DNR or whatever.
Yeah. Department of Natural Resources
page. So these all were taken in the state of South Carolina.
That's what I'm saying though, is they all like the sandy stuff too.
Yeah.
So a lot of these are around the sandy area.
We did it live on things we found on the beach randomly. Like, what if we're just like sunbathing on the beach and then that crawled over? I would freak out a little.
I'm gonna move this and we're gonna go to this bad boy.
Okay, well, we have to say first, we're moving into the venomous snakes. We were only talking about snakes that were harmless and actually helpful. And now we're going to talk about the venomous snakes that you need to be cautious.
This one I think gives the most bites to people in South Carolina every year.
Gosh.
But you can see why. It's mostly because you can't see them.
I know. That's why this picture is good. Because he blends in so well.
And this is with him sitting on top of the leaves. Many of them, and we have something here in South Carolina, in Myrtle Beach area, but in South Carolina in general, in the Carolinas, everybody here, instead of using up north where I grew up in the Midwest, mulch was the big deal in your beds. Here, people use pine straw. So a lot of people get bit on their feet or ankles or their hands. Yeah. And it's mostly because they're sticking their hand down in pine straw or leaves. And you can't see this guy above the leaves. But if he's under the leaves, you have no idea that he's there waiting.
I mean, honestly, if I walked past that and there was just leaves there, I really would just walk past and not even think about it. Yeah.
You wouldn't know.
Unless I was really looking for it.
Yeah. But you have to, like here in South Carolina, if you're in the woods at certain times of the year, I would say anytime really March through October are the big season probably for snakes. So you just got to keep your eyes peeled. You never know.
They're found in woods, in leaf piles like this.
Yep.
But yeah, it's the most common bite, like Frank said, because they're so well camouflaged, which is pretty impressive. I have to say he's kind of pretty, but
he's very pretty. It's a very pretty pattern.
I don't like him though, because that's like so scary.
Yeah. So you just got to be careful. And again, they aren't trying to bite anybody, but if you get, I've seen so many videos where someone like puts their foot right next to the snake and it doesn't strike.
Yeah.
But you step on it or you kick it and it's going to bite. And
I think most of the time we've read that snakes don't want to attack you.
Well, not just that, but when they do bite, a lot of times, not every time, it's a dry bite, which means that they don't even actually inject any venom. I don't know what the percentage is of the times that they strike and how much is dry, but the point is stay away, keep your distance so you don't have to worry about it.
But I think the biggest thing is, do you see on the picture the hourglass bands? They kind of look like an hourglass shape.
Yeah.
So that's what you're supposed to be looking for in a copperhead to know that it is a copperhead.
Well, you also have their heat pits, right?
I mean, I'm not going to get that close to his face, but like his hourglass pattern is much more recognizable.
Yeah. But I mean, I'm just saying they also let's talk about the triangular head.
Yeah.
The eyes that are like the slits instead of like a round pupil. So
it's like a chameleon.
Wow.
Or like a
Not
gecko.
really. Oh,
like
wow. Yeah, the eyes.
our
you mean?
friend's gecko. Yeah. So, oh my gosh.
Okay.
So this next one, we do have another story about. It is very common here. And this is the other one, copperheads and cottonmouths, which this is a cottonmouth, also known as a water moccasin. They're called two different things, same snake. They're the ones I most learned about growing up as being really like the two most prevalent dangerous. Look at his mouth.
Yeah. So what they do is if you get too close, they will open their mouth as a warning, like, hey, stay away. Recently, our son was on a piece of property and walking, and this snake was going from the pond into the woods.
Because they are found near water.
Yes.
And we have a lot of that here.
Yes. And they like ponds.
Yeah.
And so this snake was leaving and showed its mouth to our son
and his friend.
So,
and they thought it was cool, but they just stepped around him.
Yeah.
Then they came and they were like, we saw a snake, but we don't know what kind it was, but he opened his mouth and he had fangs. And then we were asking him all these questions and he was like, no, I don't think. We showed him pictures of cottonmouth. He's like, no, that's not it. And then he drew a picture of what it looked like. And Frank was like, oh my gosh. And he knew right away it was a cottonmouth.
Yeah. But only one snake that I'm aware of shows its fangs, and it's a cottonmouth. So especially here in South Carolina. So,
but they said because we were like looking at what kind of snake it could be, it said that they only show their fangs as a warning because they don't actually want to bite you.
Mm-hmm.
They just show that and they won't chase you. And it's true. Hudson and his friend were right there. They walked right around him. He showed his fangs, but he did not try to attack them.
Yeah.
And then they went back to go see him again. I didn't know that. I wouldn't have said he could. But he was gone. He went on his way. He saw them. He did his warning.
They're fast. They're fast snakes. And at the end of the day, what I have instructed our son to do is walk the other way.
Yeah.
If you see a snake, turn around and walk the other way. Don't go around it.
Safest.
Why chance it? Why risk it? And but
he's so dark. He's not as dark, distinguishable, in my opinion, as like a dangerous snake, because he's just brownish.
Well, you see the brown on top, but you can see the different colors underneath, and he drew that black.
Hudson was drawing like the exact like lines, exactly how it was, and then when he described his mouth and everything, and then we showed him a picture, and he was like, "That's definitely it," which was scary because. Again, I've grown up here and played in the woods growing up, and I never saw one of these or the copperhead.
Yeah.
But the fact that he just saw that in a place we're living is like terrifying.
Oh, I mean, So
I say we need to get a king snake to eat it.
Yeah, we can get a couple of them. But I think at the end of the day, what you got to think about is when you're by wildlife, they exist in the Carolinas. It is what it is. They're in Texas. They're in not water moccasins, but snakes. You got them all over the country in the Midwest. Yeah. So you just got to be aware and you got to understand it, and you got to give them respect because you don't want to mess with them.
Well, I feel like gained more respect for this snake when he didn't attack the boys, because I was like, okay, they're not really purposefully trying to hurt humans. Like they're not out chasing people and biting them. And they do try to give you a warning, like, hey, I'm here.
You're 100 times bigger than they are. The last thing they want to do is they're not trying. They want to eat. They don't want to just bite for nothing. Yeah. If they bite you, they give their venom, and then now they got to replenish their venom.
But I can see him being hidden in with a bunch of dark leaves or whatever. I mean, he's so brown you wouldn't really see him there.
He actually stands out more than anything else, believe it or not, like how you see him sitting there on the pine straw. But like if he was in the mud by the pond, which is why they sit by the pond, you wouldn't see him.
Well, and we have that kind of intracoastal waterway, and they have been seen coming off of that. So
they're there, they're around. So you just got to
be careful. Again, they're not trying to hurt you.
Okay.
This is one that I really honestly had no clue was in the Carolinas until you told me. I had no idea.
Oh, this
And I grew up here. Yeah.
This is an eastern diamondback rattlesnake.
I honestly did not know that rattlesnakes lived in the Carolinas. I thought they were only in the desert for some reason.
Yeah. I don't know how these are here. I think you got to go more. I'm not saying they're not right here in our area. We had somebody that saw this snake in our neighborhood.
Yeah.
We have an area of our neighborhood where all the boats get stored, and it's just basically woods. And somebody was walking in our neighborhood and they saw the snake all stretched out, just taking its time. And it was a long, big snake. And we've had a couple other, I've seen some Facebook videos that, they just pop up and it shocks people, I think, because it's not
you hear
common.
Like the rattle.
Well, also it's not common. So
we didn't say which one this was. It's the eastern.
I did too. I did start
eastern diamondback rattlesnake.
Yeah. So, but they're, I don't, as far as aggressiveness, I don't know which ones are more aggressive. I would say this might be more aggressive than a moccasin, but I don't know. I'm not an expert. So
it said they are found in coastal forest areas, but it's rare to see them, which I think we agree. Although it was random that the neighbor saw it, but we do live in a waterway neighborhood.
Yes.
That does have forest also.
Yeah. And I think it's, we don't see a lot of snakes. Mostly
because, I'm not in the woods.
but our neighborhood is very clear. There's not a lot of woods. We have changed that situations, woods, but when you are around woods, this is something you have to be concerned about, and it just is what it is. So,
and this one has the diamonds on the back, but there's actually another rattlesnake.
Yes.
Oh gosh, he's getting excited. I just saw it in his eyes.
So we will move on from the eastern diamondback to the timber rattlesnake.
Ooh, that one. Ugh, I seriously just got chills.
This doesn't look as bad as the eastern diamondback.
Really? Yeah. I think the eastern diamondback looks nicer than that guy. But
yeah, I think the pattern isn't as cool on this one as the other one, but
I think the other one's found more near water, and this one's more in the woods.
Gotcha. Man, the face just looks so mean.
Yeah. For sure.
But this is the timber rattlesnake, and I don't know that there's really nothing. So one thing that I think is interesting is I was researching pit vipers and the snakes that are here that are venomous. And what I learned, I don't know if this is accurate, this is what I read, that the anti-venom for pit vipers is mostly the same, meaning here. So there's really only two types of poison, and the same anti-venom that would work on a water moccasin works on a timber rattler or an eastern diamondback or a copperhead. So you can get the same antivenom. And for those of you that do live in Myrtle Beach, if you weren't aware, you would go to Grand Strand Hospital, is what we read online, that you would go for anti-venom treatment. I'd
always heard anyway.
They're a level 1 trauma center, and that's where most people go. I did read a story today about one of it actually is on a snake we don't have up. So there was someone that was bit by a pygmy rattlesnake that we don't have up right now. I don't know how easy it would be for me to show it, but I'll look at it. I'll try and find it here. But the pygmy rattlesnake is a snake that, here it is. Let's see if people can see this. I don't know if they can see. Oh, there it is. Perfect. Okay. I'm going to show it. This is a pygmy rattlesnake. It's got this orangey red on the top ridge of its back. Somebody got bit. Actually, I'm wrong. It wasn't a pygmy rattlesnake.
Okay.
This is, I'll tell the story in a second. Yeah, I totally ruined that story.
Like the worst story.
All right. So this is a pygmy rattlesnake. This is another rattlesnake here in South Carolina. I've never even, I don't know that I've heard anyone talk about it ever.
No.
So I'm wondering how, I think this might be more mountainous, but it says in South Carolina and Myrtle Beach. So it's just probably rare, but I think this is a really interesting pattern. Okay. Yeah. I was actually thinking of the story I read about a gaboon viper, which is not a snake that is here, but the reason this ties back to Grand Strand.
Okay.
Somebody at a reptile center was bitten by a gaboon viper, which is a snake in another country. I think Africa. I don't know. And what happened was they got bit here and they went to Grand Strand to get treated.
Okay, gotcha.
Yes. That was like a big deal.
I was wondering how this was
so that all tied together. See? All right.
It ended up being a good story. What do y'all think?
Yes. Yeah. Comment down below how you like my story.
Rate Frank's story between 1 and 10.
Yeah. Okay. This next one is one that I've never seen, but there was one seen at Brook Green Gardens.
Oh my gosh. Well, that's like a huge undeveloped forest land, not far from the ocean. So in the inlet and everything. So I'm not surprised.
This is a coral snake. They aren't
I literally
usually very big. They're usually tinier. And they're like undergrowth, under leaves, that kind of stuff. But they are very poisonous.
But this is why it said, so you were saying this earlier, but see how the red is touching the yellow.
Which is red and yellow, kill a fellow. And if it's a king snake, which is much bigger.
Let's show that one again. Let's show the king
Well, the king is not, they don't have the colored one. They only have the black one.
Okay.
A king snake has the same colors, but it's red next to black instead of red next to yellow. So it's red and black, friend of Jack, red and yellow, kill a fellow. So when you see red next to yellow, not good. Stay away, let it do its thing. Their mouths aren't very big, but if they do bite and they sink their mouth in, it's not good. So if they're very poisonous.
Yeah.
And we have these here.
Crazy.
I've never seen one, but
I mean, we've never really seen most.
Yeah.
I haven't even seen a copperhead that was Hudson.
Yeah, me neither.
So
we've had people in our neighborhood that have seen them in the street and all this stuff, and we've never seen them. So I hope that stays that way. But anyway,
for sure.
Okay.
So where you're most likely going to see snakes here, Frank? In the woods, obviously. In the marshes, near the ponds. Golfing.
Yes, I have run over a water moccasin on a golf course.
Oh my gosh.
And I've seen them out on the course. Never any other snakes, but a water moccasin,
We have a lot of wooded walking trails in the area because we do have several state parks, Brook Green Gardens. We have the reserve in Carolina Forest. So we have a lot of those wooded walking trails, and that's where you can find a lot of them as well. And I can see like them blending into the woods and you coming across them by accident on those. Under logs, mulch, other debris. There was some stuff on a property we have, and Frank wanted to get it off so bad, not because he didn't like the way it looked. It's because he felt like that was a good attractor of snakes, right?
Yeah. All the thick brush, the leaves, undergrowth, under bushes, you just want to stay away from. I try and stay away from. We keep the grass out there short and tight, but sometimes
so is that
not
what
even
you
that.
would suggest when, like, to prevent getting bit?
Yeah, I think I'm not an expert on snakes. I do read a lot about them, and I like listen to other people that talk about them. But from what I understand is there's really not much you can do that works to permanently just keep snakes away. You keep the environment correct so that they don't want to be attracted and then they just don't come. But it's inevitable that if you live next to woods and there's snakes, they're going to come onto your property at some point in time. So,
but I think the biggest thing with clearing the debris, making sure the grass is short, is so you can notice them more easily. Is that why? And then they won't just stay and hide there.
If the grass is short, they can't stay cool. It's hot. They don't want to be there. They don't want to be there. But the other thing is you always have to think about the environment, the habitat. So when I hunt, which I do like to do, and when we go hunting, you have to think about, like, we have these conversations, but it's the food chain. Yeah. So why would a snake want to be on your property besides just water? Other animals. So what do they like to eat? Well, mice and whatever. Well, what do the mice like to eat? Well, do you have fruit trees? Do you have things that the mice can eat? Whatever that is, food, trash, I don't know.
So you're saying different types of vegetation could, by the food chain, attract different types of snakes.
Could. Yeah. So if you have something that attracts mice, then snakes are going to want to eat the mice. Right, and so they're going to come. Yeah. So you got to think about that.
You might want that, because you don't want the mice. I don't know.
Let's put it this way.
It depends on what kind of snake.
If it's a black rat snake, fine. Yeah. If it's a pygmy rattler, I'd rather not. So it depends on what the heck we're talking about. But keeping the property right.
Mhm.
And snakes do
Control
move
the
around.
rodents.
Yes.
Mhm.
And snakes do move around mostly after it rains. A lot of them move around at night.
Which is why they say you should carry a flashlight if you're walking around a wooded area or the pond or something against the water at
Or
night.
night vision.
Frank is extreme. Yes, if you have night vision, you can wear your night vision. Or just bring a flashlight when you're walking at night. Wear shoes at night or during the day.
I got to be honest. Like at night, headlamp, whatever.
Oh my
I mean,
gosh.
it obviously is good to have.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to trust my headlamp to see a snake before night vision.
You're going to like be walking like a nice stroll at night with a night vision.
Well, I'm talking about the woods. I'm not going to.
Who are you going to be walking with? Because that would be weird.
Well, I mean, hey, at least I won't get bit.
Yeah. You'll probably throw me into the line of fire.
Throw you. Yeah.
Oh,
stand in front of
happen?
me. Yeah. Oh my goodness. I can't believe that happened.
Yeah. So don't, doing yard work, if you reach into a bush or like a leaf pile blindly and you're not paying attention, you could be reaching into a snake.
Yes. I also read don't use a tourniquet. If you get bit.
Well, let's talk about if you do get bit.
Oh, all right.
That's it. Frank likes to jump around. I'm like,
whatever. So what are we talking about now?
Well, we were talking about bite prevention tips.
Okay. So the snake boots.
Yeah.
Clothing, right? Now you wear jeans, their fangs can go through jeans. But if you have snake boots on, that helps. But you
just
you still don't want to be
in general.
Yes.
Can give you some coverage.
That's right.
Watching where you step. So like kind of like sliding, would you say? Like kicking or how
snakes do want to get out of your way. So if they know you're coming, I think just walking in general should usually they know, but sometimes it's too late and then there's nothing you can do.
You come up on it.
So snake prevention is as far as boots, there's not much else you can do that I'm aware of other than that. You could wear snake bibs that go up to your waist and stuff, but
Frank, so if y'all are around Myrtle Beach and you see a guy wearing a big bib and night vision goggles, don't call the police. It's just Frank. And if you want to buy or sell a house, just go up to him. He'll be happy to help. But so never handle the snake. I mean, that's obvious.
Yes. Don't try and pick it up. Don't try and I saw a video online. A lot of people probably saw it, but it was not long ago. This girl and her friend were in Florida looking for pythons, and she saw a baby snake in the road and thought it was a baby python. She wasn't well versed in snakes. She went to grab it and it bit her 3 times, 3 or 4 times, on this hand twice, this hand once. And then she realized after she was holding it that it was a water moccasin.
Oh my gosh.
So, if you go to pick it up,
he's going to bite you
for
sure.
Not just that, but if you're not an expert,
you
don't need to get close to see what it is. Something else I also learned was, but because you don't need to if you're in a random area and it's rare, you need a picture of the snake. But if you're in South Carolina, you don't probably need to because most of the antivenom works on most of the snakes. So you really don't have to worry about capturing the snake or taking a picture.
After you get bit, like, hold on, let me try to find him. Just do like Hudson and draw it.
Yeah. Get the heck out. And get to the hospital.
Describe him. Yeah.
Get to a hospital.
So let's talk about that. If you get bitten, call 911.
Don't suck out the poison.
Don't cut the wound. Some people like bleed the wound. No, don't do that.
Take off any tight clothing.
Yeah. Don't make a tourniquet. That's what people would automatically think. Like, let me tie your arm tight to keep it there. It says not to do that.
Keep your bite below your heart.
Yeah.
So I think that's right. Below. Yeah. You don't want it above because then it's guaranteed to flow through your heart, I guess. You keep it below, then it's just harder to go up to your heart area. That's the only way I can make. I didn't read too much on it. I just heard don't keep it above your heart.
I think one of the biggest things that would be the hardest for me, because I have anxiety,
not to panic,
is don't panic, because that makes the venom go through your body quicker. And so you really need to stay calm, which is so much easier to say than to do when you've gotten bitten by a snake. But you really need to have your Zen moment, call 911, head to the Grand Strand Hospital, and don't try to do any kind of home remedies.
Yeah.
But it says, excuse me, for the most part, it won't most likely kill you, but it could like kill part of your arm if the venom stays there too long. It could damage the tissues. So that's more likely to happen than you just die. But it's like anything. Some people are allergic to bees and some aren't. Until you're bit or stung, you just don't know how your body's going to react.
Yeah.
So
it's not like you can carry an EpiPen. So
yeah, well, and that wouldn't even help for a snake anyway, right?
That's what I'm saying. So I think at the end of the day, just be safe and be prepared. Know that they're out there. Have a plan. And, you know, somebody I saw there was if you're going to be out really remote, you should probably have an idea of what happens if you get snake bit, life flights, that kind of stuff, numbers, you know, those types of things.
Have a plan. Like when Hudson saw the cottonmouth snake, Frank looked up specifically what hospital would we go to in our area, because there are several emergency rooms right by where we live, but they don't necessarily have anti-venom. And you don't think to like call around who has anti-venom until you get bit. And then it's like, you don't have all this time to be figuring that out. So I think like anything in our area, hurricanes or whatever, having a plan of action just in case something happens is always going to be better if it actually does occur.
Correct.
So it was almost good that Hudson saw it, didn't do anything. I think it scared him. It made him actually realize they are out there and it's not a joke.
Yeah.
And he does need to be more cautious. And it made us research and come up with a plan for if it had bitten Hudson, what would we have done? And that's why we wanted, because this just happened a few days ago. And so we thought it would be a good thing. We know a lot of parents out there that are in the Grand Strand and also other people that are out in the woods and hiking and very active. We have a big active community in the outdoors here, and you're likely to come across one of these. And
so plus I think
share that.
It's also like what we do, right? We talk about what really goes on here. So this is real. This is real life here in South Carolina. I did not grow up in the South. Snakes weren't a problem. We never even talked about it. Down here, we've had to talk about it because it's an issue. Yeah. And so you have to be prepared and you have to understand. And, you know, I think it's interesting, again, because I have hunted in different places, most of them, I didn't really have to worry about snakes. Down here is one of the reasons I know there's people online that are probably like, whatever, but they grew up here hunting around snakes, not a big deal. And I don't like it, but
I think it's just awareness. It is. When we talked about alligators, they're not typically out eating people, but you have to be aware, because if you find yourself in a situation where you come across any of these wild animals and you're not paying attention, then something bad could actually happen. Yeah.
And look, you can't catch it all, but you try and just do smart things. So be aware, be prepared, have a plan. And I think that's the most important things.
But again, I'm in my 40s, grew up in the Carolinas, and I'm telling you, I did go into the woods a lot with friends, and my mom loved camping and she would drag us always. I hated it. But I've never seen any of these snakes. Again, I'm not looking at it like.
And I look for them and can't find them.
He was so upset when Hudson saw it and not him, because he has been trying to see a snake.
Yeah.
So we're not trying to scare anybody, but it's such good things to know. And this week was a reminder to us that we're not alone out there, and we do need to take this seriously.
So if you're thinking about moving to Myrtle Beach, you know, like we said, I look, she doesn't, and we've never seen them. Yeah. We have people that have seen them, and they are definitely here.
Yes.
So just be aware.
We've seen pictures from other neighbors that have seen them. Yes.
Yeah. But if you have questions or you have pictures you can share or stories you can share,
we'd love to hear.
Share your stories. I would love to hear the snake stories. I'd read every single one of them.
That would be right up Frank's alley. He'd be eating that up. So let us know what you think about these snakes. Is there something we missed that we should share, that you have a story about or opinion about? We'd love to hear it.
Yeah. And if you have questions about building here, buying here, selling here, or renovating here, reach out to us, because that's what we do.
It is.
Cool. And we'll be on next week, same day, same time, and we'll see everybody then.
All right. Everybody have a good night.
All right, everybody.